Miss T.
Miss T.
Miss T.
Miss T. Miss T.
Miss T.
Miss T.
Miss T.
Miss T.
Miss T.
Can't wait for you to meet Miss T. She is the T in T.
So welcome to today's podcast, and I am going to hopefully help you get unstuck. I work with lots of people, but I started working with myself first, especially when I started to tell myself that I want to, have the life that I see in my dreams. I want to, make more money. I want to create a legacy for my family and young people that I work with. But I was saying those things and I thought I was working towards those things, but I wasn't. I was saying those things. And so one of the best things I could have ever done was align myself with a coach, a mentor. And this is someone that, wasn't necessarily in my life to be my bestie. They were more in my life to be honest with me. So I never allow myself to get cemented in a place of comfort, in a place of easy. And so, I was always being pushed towards what I said I wanted. So I just thought that today we'd have some sort of honest expression or exchange about helping you get started. So the first question that I asked myself many years ago is, what do you want? And I said, I want to, have my own company. I want to be a millionaire. I wanted to, do a number of different things. But the difficulty in this is what I want and this is now my lifestyle was getting started. So I had to put some action behind the words that I was saying and just be honest about what I was willing to do by way of action. A lot of times I hear people offer ideas and concepts and dreams and goals and vision boards, but there's very little action behind these things other than the action of creating these things. So now when there's something that I want, I'm quick to take a step. So I'll give you a few examples just so that you can see how some of that unfolds in my life. For example, I have programs in multiple cities, right? And I have a driver in one of these cities, and he, you ride in the car with somebody long enough and have enough conversation, you get to know the person. And so I get in the car, one day, and we're going to, one of my school sites or one of my, work sites. And, I recognize that there's something different about him. He's not as excited or he's not as talkative. And so you learn very quickly, the more time you spend around somebody, how to pick up on things about them that are emotionally new or behaviorally new. And so I just recognized he was just kind of down. And so I say, hey, man, what's going on? What's up? And of course, people they say fine, but not fine. And I said, okay, well, what does that mean? I said, you just don't seem like yourself. And so he starts to go on to tell me that the Tesla stock or the value of the Tesla vehicle, which he has a couple, had just went down by $10,000. And he says, I gotta figure out what to do with this Tesla. And I says, oh, okay, well, what does that mean? He says, I just got to sell it. So in that instant, I recognized an opportunity. And if you don't have the wherewithal to connect with people, if you're not building relationships where change or where growth or where how to read between the lines when people talk, you'll miss opportunity after opportunity. Now, this young man in particular, he's brilliant. He's brilliant in the things of stock and he's brilliant in the things of day trading. He's brilliant in the things of real estate. He's brilliant in the things of promotion and business. But for whatever reason, he's driving people around like people like me around. And I think, so we had some conversation about that. But in doing that, you get to know people. So if you're not taking the time to get to know people, you're missing out on opportunity after opportunity and answer after answer that you need for your life. Okay, so now back to the story. He's telling me how he's bummed because he has multiple Tesla vehicles. He, came up on one just during COVID by divine appointment through a relationship, and he has to get rid of it. And so again, he tells me the value and I'm just like, wow. And in that instant, I recognize again, opportunity. And so I said to him, well, if it'll take the pressure off, I'll buy it. And so he says, seriously? I'm like, yeah, I'll buy it. And so, okay, we talk, we mention it, it comes up. There's some option, there's some idea, there's some idea that I could get this vehicle. Now, mind you, I don't know a whole lot about these Tesla cars. I'm asking him questions like, how often do you get the oil change? How do you keep it all charged up? There's no gas. What is the key? There's no car key, no ignition, no nothing. So not only am I positioning myself to acquire a vehicle, I'm positioning myself to acquire a vehicle that I know nothing about. I don't know about the culture behind these cars, and I don't know how to function one of these cars. But again, I recognize the opportunity, and I know that I have to do something to get started. Now, right away, I could feel myself start to process and be like, ugh, I'm going to have to learn a whole new thing in order to acquire this vehicle. Number one. Number two, is in a completely different city. That's going to take me hours to get it back to where I live. And number three, I have to add another thing to my plate that requires all these different steps with acquiring a vehicle, taking DMV, money exchange, etc. And so now this thing that I'm realizing, this is an opportunity that I want to seize. Now I'm realizing all these steps and this opportunity for me to grow in a completely different direction that I did not plan for in a very action-packed period of life for me. And I'm thinking, okay, do I really want this opportunity? And so again, going back and forth inside of myself, I knew that if I didn't take a step, that I would miss the opportunity. If I didn't seize the opportunity by taking action, even if it's a little action, I would miss the opportunity. So 1 week goes by, of course, I make excuses. I'm very, very busy. I'm flying all over the place, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm checking in with him. Hey, how's it going? He's traveling. He's doing this. He's doing that. And then again, week 2 goes by and I start to feel the opportunity kind of get a little stale. Now, I don't like missed opportunities and I don't like stale opportunities. Whenever an opportunity presents itself, I try very hard to seize it. So again, I'm talking about getting started. And so anyways, I feel 2 weeks go by and I'm starting to feel the opportunity get a little stale. So what I say, okay, you know what? I'm going to be back in the city. Let's meet. And so that we can, get the paperwork going, have some conversation. I could test drive something just to kind of take action towards acquisition. And so I get there and guess what? He's unavailable. Something comes up. Oh my goodness. So sorry, Miss T. I can't be there. And so again, I'm recognizing, okay, sometimes when you have an opportunity that you may have the ability to seize and grow from, obstacles will present themselves. So now all of a sudden he has a travel schedule where before he was very flexible, very free to meet with me. And so I get there and I come back, I fly back and again, missed opportunity. We didn't meet. And so again, this is week 3 now, and I'm talking about getting started. And I know this is a long freaking story about getting started, but I promise you the landing is really good and I hope it helps you. So anyways, week 3 and I end up back in the same city and I'm like, listen to me, we have to move the ball on this. And so I make a phone call to, my banking institution. He makes a phone call to his banking institution. And I told myself, because again, I'm going back and forth inside of myself. Do I need another vehicle? Not really, but it'd be nice to have that cool freaking vehicle. It's dope. Do I need the extra responsibility? Not really, but this is a really good deal and it is an opportunity. Do I really have the time to learn about this whole culture, this whole new vehicle? Not really, but you make time for what you make time for, right? So I decide, okay, I'm seizing the opportunity. I'm taking action right now, but I'm taking the kind of action that makes it impossible for me to go back. And so I go back and forth with my banking institution. We get all of his information, the vehicle information, my information, and we move the ball. We get stuff in writing. We get an agreement. We get a deal. We get a number, and we get all the important parties connected in the course of 20 minutes. Now, again, he's going out of town again, freaking Dominican Republic. I'm like, bro, can I come with you to some of this stuff? But he's going out of town. He says, oh, Miss T, bummer. I won't be back for 5 days. And I'm saying to him, look, we have to move the ball on this. So anyways, all of that being said, we get started. We get started by one, involving people in the process that makes it impossible to go backward, that will help us push the thing forward. So again, T, what do you want? Do you want this vehicle? I had to ask myself that multiple times. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And then once I was determined about what I wanted, I had to take a step, but not just any step, a step that would propel me forward and make it impossible for me to go backward. So one of the number one ways to help you get started on what you say your dream, your goal is. The number one, be very clear and very honest. Do you really want it? That's number one. Number two, what step can you take that's going to push this baby forward and make it impossible for you to go backwards? So I'll tell you, I'm telling you all of this about the car, but one of the ways that I take steps that make it impossible for me to go backward, that propel me forward, is I put my money where my mouth is. That's one of the hardest things for people to do typically, is part with your money. But if you put your money on something, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to buy it, or you're going to have steps towards acquiring it, or you're going to lose it. Most often people don't like to lose their money. So if you have a dream or a goal, it could be a car, it could be a company. For example, when I started my company, I'm going to show you how serious I was about getting started. I cashed out my 401k and my life savings and took out a second on my home. My money was where my mouth was, and it made it impossible for me to go backwards. And here we are over 20 years later with a multi-million-dollar empire that's growing internationally by the day. Again, seizing opportunities. And when I say seizing, I mean seizing. But I put my money where my mouth is. So again, put your money where your mouth is. Stop talking about it and be about it, and do something with some cash. Put an investment on it. Hire somebody that you have to pay to help you go forward, or buy the equipment that you need that forces you to go forward. Again, I had a photography company, and I had to consider, okay, am I going to do this? I'm doing wedding photography. So I started investing in cameras, investing in lenses, investing in lighting kits, computers, things like that. Put your money where your mouth is. That's a surefire way of helping you get started. And the third thing I'm going to offer is get some good people around you that's not afraid to be honest with you. If you have people around you that are not afraid to be honest with you, they could keep you honest and keep you true to your word by walking this path with you. So when you're in the thick of things and you're feeling like, oh, this is a lot, or it's really hard, well, yeah, those days come. But you have the right people around you that will speak truth to you and remind you, hey, you said you wanted this. So, okay, we started down this path. Let's keep going down this path until we cross the finish line. I think another one of the really challenging things is when I first got started, again, time is money for me, and that's a big deal. Time is money, and I try really hard not to waste time. But I had to start giving my services for free. And I'm learning that, a lot of people that say they want to start in business or they want to go to the next level, they're not willing to do their passion by way of investment into others without cost, just so that they could develop and hone their craft. And I'll tell you, if just relating that to my dance organization, man, I did so much free dance. I can't even calculate the millions of dollars that I gave just in dance over the past several decades, teaching at community centers, churches, urban housing authorities, parks, other organizations, nonprofit organizations, dance studios, just so that I can hone my craft. So again, one of the ways that I practiced getting started was I just did what I said I wanted to do for free. And it helped me to build my arsenal of experience. It helped me to build a client base. It helped me to build a portfolio again. And I can relate that to my photography company. I can relate that to my coaching organization. I can relate that to so many different facets of my organization. For example, I dabbled in edutech back in 2017, and I built a platform that, we were helping a lot of the school districts that didn't have a lot of money. And so in the interest of getting started, I started creating videos that I gave educators for free. And I built a whole platform. They could go in and use them anytime they wanted. They used them in the classroom. They used them after class. They used them in the morning for, fun exercise and, waking the kids up. But again, I didn't charge for it. Well, fast forward to 2020, the very thing that I created to get started in edutech and gave away for free for 3 years became a national product in 2020 and exploded us across the country. And through that particular platform, we ended up serving hundreds of thousands of youth and educators during a very critical time. So again, I'm talking about getting started, but I'm also mentioning that somehow one of the best ways to get started is to just kind of give some stuff for free so you can build and grow and hone your product. I know that most often, it's a scary thing to take a leap. Sometimes you feel like you're at the edge of the cliff and someone's saying jump, and you're not sure whether or not if you jump, if you're going to have the ability to fly or if you're going to crash and burn. I'm going to offer this. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is never failure as long as you learn from it. And I think that that's the binding fear for most people, is they refuse to take a leap because they're afraid to fail. And I've seen it again and again. I've seen, people that I mentor, people who are accomplishing magnificent things in life. They take the leap and they realize something. They can actually fly. And I find that if you don't give yourself permission to face your fear and jump, you'll never know your great potential. And again, it's only when you get started that you start on the pathway to start learning some of the things that you can organically do that you will not even know that you can do until you're in a situation that tests who you fully are. And I think there's also something to be said about the mental toughness that's built when you get started in something that's new, when you seize an opportunity that causes you to learn something new or studying something new. I think that there's a mental toughness that comes along with that. And I'm finding that, today, that's one of the hardest things is to find, people that possess a mental toughness, because that's what you're going to have in order for you to grow in anything that you want to be, successful in, extremely successful, wildly successful in, or something that you want to monetize so that you got money that not just benefits you and your family, but families and your community and your industry. I think, again, that mental toughness, you got to have that. And you can't develop that without getting started in something that challenges you, that scares you, that you don't already know. And playing it safe in the comfort zone, you never, ever know the value of what's on the other side of the walls that keep you confined in comfort. And, again, I can go on and on about that comfort space, and maybe I will in another episode. But I determined to do things or to live a lifestyle where I never settle into a box. I don't do lids very well. And when I feel myself coasting or getting comfortable, I make sure that I have built into my lifestyle, my work lifestyle, my career lifestyle, my legacy lifestyle, and my personal lifestyle, stuff that's going to cause me to get a little uncomfortable, force a change and a shift so that I can always grow. Anything that's not growing, guess what? It's dying. So if you don't want to be one of those weird people, just not doing anything productive in life, dying on the vine like an old tomato, you're not going to be, trust me, you don't want to do that. There are people that are comfortable with doing that, but normally they're like 112 and they've done a lot of things leading up to that moment. You're not that person. You want to live, you want to grow, you want to thrive. So you're going to have to force growth and change. And, that's one of the great things about being in school and college and education is it forces those sorts of things. But when you graduate and you live in real life, you have to own your own growth. You have to monitor your own change, especially for the better. And I've learned that, if you don't fight to be clear and cemented in your identity as a successful person, as a thriving person, then you just go back to what you know. And sometimes what you know or what you knew, what you fought to be free from or what you fought to grow from, like you don't want to go back. Like I'm of the schooling that you don't want to give up conquered territory. So you fighting to be better, you fighting for more land, you fighting to be bigger, you fighting for a bigger house. You don't want to go back and live in a box just because that's what's familiar or comfortable or doable for you. And I think there's also something to be said about reaching for what looks like impossible. If you don't reach for the impossible, how will you know what you're capable of or what you were designed for, or what you were destined to do? Because you're not reaching high enough or far enough. So, again, I could give you all the onesie twosies, but I think I'll leave you with this one simple question. What do you want? Like really, truly be honest. What do you want? And if what you want is to just live, a comfortable life where you're making the same amount of money with little incremental changes, over the years, and you have your pet, your 2.5 children, your husband or your wife, and that's what you want, be honest about that. But don't say I want to be a multi-billionaire with a yacht. No, you don't. You want to coast through life and be comfortable because you're scary to take the risk to have something like that. But if you start with a place of honesty, you can always build from there. And I tell people all the time, I can do something with the truth, but I can't do nothing with a lie. I can't do nothing with a coward. So if you're afraid or you're not being honest with yourself, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be very difficult for you to grow into something more, something bigger, something better. So just be honest and be okay with where you're at, honestly. and then be honest about the types of steps, the size of the leaps, or the trajectory of growth that you're allowing yourself to have. Now, again, I'm a little on the extreme side, so I intentionally take quantum leaps. Pressure is not a thing for me where it breaks me, it makes me. I'm a pressure player. But again, I know that about myself. So again, start with the truth and then build forward from the truth. And I think you'll find that, the more you determine to be honest with yourself about where you are, where you go, is nothing wrong with being afraid. There's something wrong with being afraid to take a step, being paralyzed in a place and pretending like you're ready for something more. No, let's start with the paralysis and we grow from there. So I hope this helped you. Again, these are just a few things that, I determined to be mindful of, especially when I'm starting a new project, taking a quantum leap, or helping somebody get unstuck. You really, truly can do what you dream of, what you visualize, and what you're desiring toward. All those desires, dreams, goals, is not random. Somehow, some way, they found their way into your heart, and you are wanting to express those in for the world to see, and that's good. But again, you want to start taking your steps toward that and getting started and being serious about your starting point and doing things that force you forward in a kind, gentle way. I like get big old fat pushes and tsunami force behind what I do, but that's me and I've grown to that. And if you're not that way, be honest about that, but make sure that you're building the things in your life and lifestyle and relationships that's helping you toward your goal, in the trajectory, the speed, and the force that you're ready for. Be honest. And then once you start achieving your goals, achieving, little steps, and you want to document your growth. Because I find that once you're faced with the bigger challenges and the bigger growth opportunities, it's always nice to go back and see how far you've come, see how you started, see how you didn't quit, and see what you've accomplished. It's a very good propellant and a very good encouragement to see, look, I started here, but now I'm here. I wanted this, I have it, and now I'm shooting for that. And if you don't document your journey not only benefits you, but it also benefits everybody who's watching you and everybody who comes behind you. So again, I leave you with this question. What do you want? That's number one. Number two, what is your action step that pushes you forward and does not give you the option to go backward? All right. I hope you let me know what you get out of all of this. These are things that have been practiced for me for many, many years, 37 to be exact. And I love, love, love it when I see people win. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning into that. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, look, if you got any questions, challenges, comments, concerns, or you just want to be in touch with your girl, you can do that by emailing me at sweetteetime, that's me, time, show@gmail.com. Again, that's sweetteetimeshow@gmail.com. And I look forward to hearing from you.